I was a teenager in the early 2000s, and boy, did we figure out how to ruin our self-esteem back then. I don't know what teenagers are ruining their brains with now, but I do have a theory it's cocaine. But back in 2003, I would read People and In Touch magazine and let the unrealistic beauty and body standards seep into my brain hard. Every second page was women with negative body fat, low-rise jeans, and perky tits. They also had perfect skin. If their skin was not perfect, they would use the overly priced Proactive from the infomercials. This chemical concoction promises to turn your skin perfect in order for you to enter into society again. Thank you, Proactive. Before you, my 2 to 9 pimples I would get a month would make me retreat into a cave. You certainly don't work, but I can tell people that it does, and they will accept me once again. Back then, if you didn't have perfect tits, perfect skin, and if your body didn't rock the perfect low-rise jeans, it felt like you needed to be eliminated from Earth. Oh, Abby, am I being dramatic? Well, okay, maybe, but so was the torture my brain would put me through as a byproduct of this negative narrative. There was no talk about body positivity or neutrality, purely negativity and toxic diet culture. I can't give all the credit to the early 2000s mainstream media. My mother, God love her, my mother was always unhappy with her weight. Even in the small-ass town I grew up in, there was a weight loss club dedicated for making women's asses smaller. From my understanding, this club, they had to meet once a week. They had a weigh-in, and then they would sit around gossiping over a plate of snacks. Why this social activity needed to involve diet? Because you had a baby 3 months ago, Cheryl. Obviously, you need to tighten up, Cheryl. What else do you have to focus on, Cheryl? We can go back even further than that. I also have a very vivid memory of being in the doctor's office, and I think I was as young as 4, and being told that I was overweight. Being told that you are overweight at 4 years old when you have zero concept of healthy diet or your body in general can really translated in my brain is your body, yeah, that's wrong. This for sure started the cycle of poor body image, self-destructive eating, and terrible self-esteem. I have struggled with my weight my entire life. I have a deep food addiction, which I'll talk about maybe later in this episode or another episode. I've also struggled with an eating disorder in my younger life. And to be honest, I don't know many women that haven't struggled with disordered eating at one point in their lives. Up to 2 years ago, I weighed well over 300 pounds. I was probably closer to 400. I don't think I am wrong saying that, ironically, the culture telling me how to be thin actually made me fat. Welcome to House of Stone, the podcast where everyone has a story and we get into the nitty-gritty of it all. Today's guest is Eva Alexo.
Am I allowed to look in the camera?
Your camera is right there and right there.
I'm like,
that one's for me. That one just has me. Yeah.
So back off.
That one's mine. That one's mine. That's my camera.
My bad.
Eva Alexo is a comedian and producer of the Kickback, one of the most popular shows in the city. It was also named recently Cult Montreal's best show in the city.
1 of 5.
1 of 5, yes.
And of 5 voters.
Oh, please. Like, I think I myself voted 5 times for my show because you can do that, and then no.
Can you?
Yeah. So you definitely won that fair.
I was like, hi, Dad. Can you call all the Greek cousins?
Eva is a warm soul, and it comes across with every project that she works on. Her comedy style is energetic and raw, and I'm so happy to have you here today.
I'm so excited to be here. We're gonna talk some shit.
Let's talk some shit. First off, how can people find you online? Your handles? Let them know.
My number is 514. 501. That's actually my number. Well, you guys can find me on Instagram at Eva Alexo Comedy and also on OnlyFans, Seeking Arrangements, and TikTok at Eva Alexo Comedy. Okay. But the best comedy is on my OnlyFans.
Yes. Okay.
I don't have one. I don't have the confidence for
and
it.
at Kickback Montreal, right?
And Kickback Montreal. Oh yeah, that show.
that one.
Kickback MTL, and our 2-year anniversary is actually July 23rd. So I'm very, very excited.
I think
about
I'm
that.
at that one, right? Pretty sure I am.
I'm pretty sure it's
just
a walk-in.
Oh yeah.
It's actually gonna be a strip show. I'm gonna strip. People will leave.
Why not? Get
People will
audience
leave.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna get sued.
So how are you doing? How's things?
Horrible. Inflation.
Everything. Yes.
Pineapples cost $18.
Yeah.
But I don't have AC, and it's been raining most of the summer, so that's been a lifesaver.
You don't have AC? No. Ouch.
I don't know what I was thinking. I got like one place with central air, and I was like, I'll never live lower than this again. and then I sold my AC, and we had to move because of the pandemic, and like we're both freelancers, so everything closed down.
Yeah.
Our rent was like $2,000 a month for a renovated garage in the plateau, and we were like, relax. So we downgraded to this like place with a backyard, which we thought was a backyard, and a cool place in like Ville Marie.
Yeah.
But that place is also a little whack because we got like crackheads in the backyard. Like, it's wild. I thought it was someone's dad in the backyard the other day, and I was like, I bet he's fixing the fence. But then he jumped the fence. And
I was just
like,
hanging out.
I was like, oh yeah, it's a crackhead. Yeah. But I just like on Ontario, it's like that. So I just tell myself that, they're part of Hogwarts.
Oh, yes.
Make sure you're like speaking to the microphone.
Yeah,
Not too far.
you gotta be a little bit closer.
Do you want me to ask? Do you want to ask again how I'm doing? Maybe I'll.
No.
Maybe I could lie and say I'm great.
No. We're raw here.
No,
It's fine.
I mean, we're surviving, but definitely like
barely.
solid rough month financially for artists.
I think so.
Right?
I think I've heard that all around. There's getting people to shows and stuff like that. Yeah.
I have this theory that now that everything is open again, social anxiety has actually increased because it was a lot more fun when we weren't allowed to do it. And now that everything's open, like even myself, I find myself much more introverted this summer than I was.
I mean, as someone I have lived with social anxiety for most of my life. And in order to like kind of overcome your social anxiety, you have to just do it. You have to push yourself and like make sure you make the connection after that. Okay, you didn't die after engaging in this social activity. But because we went without it for so long and it was exciting at first, we're just out of practice. And like, we're just out of practice. And I find myself in like having to talk myself into like having normal interactions that I'm normally used to. And like, but like, thinking that it'll go wrong or something like, so I had to like, my brain is wired to be anxious for social engagements. And I rewired that over years. And now I'm having to change my wiring again. So I totally get that. Like, and I also have picked up on people just being very awkward, more
comedians?
Awkward. Comedians.
You mean a comedian?
We're always around comedians, and they are very awkward.
We're all weird. None of us are
from an audience
cool.
perspective, I'm sure they think we're like outgoing and funny and personable. Oh no.
No.
Oh no. I get the opposite of that. So I definitely, anyways. So I definitely would agree that like social anxiety probably is a lot heightened now, for sure.
I think my boyfriend's favorite joke that like when people come up to him, he's like, people come up to him all the time. Like, it must be so fun dating a comedian. It must be like funny all the time. And I bet that they're just like happy. Is she just happy all the time? I bet she's happy all the time. I almost broke up with this man yesterday over a hypothetical scenario, okay? Don't make up hypothetical scenarios and relate. Like, it will end your relationship.
Oh my God.
What did we fight over? Oh, if he'll have a hall pass at 40.
If he'll have a
hall pass at 40.
God. Wait, what exactly is a hall pass?
A hall pass is like, you know, you have a one night stand and you don't get in trouble for it.
At 40, he wants one?
I don't know, but the argument started when he said, "How long will it take?" And I said, "What the fuck did you just say?"
Like, how much time do I have to do?
I don't know, but the Greek in me was like doubling down.
There's a quota system. You have to like 10 years and then you're allowed one blowjob. Or
I don't know, but the thing is that we're both like relatively stubborn people. So our like the inner lawyer that is not smart enough to ever become a lawyer in us, like to argue about these things. So I'm here like, are you sure you're okay with me and another man? Because like, of course you're okay with me and another woman. It's hot, but like, are you good with another man? And he's like, yeah, I don't care. Just don't fall in love with him. I'm like, well, that sounds like a Nicholas Sparks novel ready to happen, doesn't it? And I was like, what if he's bigger than you, better than you? He eats my butt. Like what? Like what? Like things you can't give me. And he's like, well, there's a reason.
You're trying to test that logic.
Yeah, I was just starting to plant seed. I'm a visual person, so I just wanted him to know. Like Terry Crews was gonna bang it out. Like, can you compete with Terry Crews, sir? And then and he's like, well, you know, and that's why like I just don't go down on you because I just know too much about what happens down there. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
what do you mean? He's like, well, babe, like I know what it smells like when you fart, and I know what you do in the bathroom, and sometimes you forget your little taquito wraps. And I was like, what is a taquito wrap? What do you mean? He's like, okay, actually, this is gonna get a little dirty.
No, go for it.
Gross. It's like, you know, like when it's that time of month and you wrap it up like a little gift and like you put it in the garbage. Like one time I forgot to put it in the garbage and I kind of like left it. And he went in the bathroom. He was like, bleh. I was like, what's going on? He's like, you left your little blood taquito in the sink. And I was like, oh, no. So, like, he has a visual.
Okay.
But the thing, I was still offended. I was like, what do you mean?
I would be
like,
offended, too. Like, what
So I shoved him down there, and I said, try again.
That's a good move.
No, but I straight up looked at him, and I was like, bro, I'm not like a Alamo Coco restaurant that like you tell your friends not to go to and don't order the potatoes because you used to work there and they don't wash their hands. Like it's not something you do. I'm like, you rip ass every morning. Like I know when your body is waking up.
You know a lot about him too.
I'm in the kitchen doing the dishes. I just hear this man fluctuate across the house. I'm like, baby's waking up. Like, and I start making the coffee and I still go down there and just gargle his balls. Like that's love, baby.
I mean, I know so much about my boy, like so much, but I will still be the dirtiest human, as dirty as he wants me to be. Like, I don't care. Like, I've literally seen this man throw up at the kitchen table, just at the kitchen table. I've seen him throw up. And he washes his mouth, and I still kiss him. Like it's just, like, what is the difference? I don't know. You're not asking him to go down on you on your period. So like it's totally different. I don't know.
But I mean, I get it. He's white.
I don't know. It's a weird conversation to have. Good for you.
Zach's like, excuse me. I will eat it up.
You have any comment on that?
I just know it from a lot of rap songs that people who like rap songs are not particularly fans of eating people out.
I haven't had sex with a lot of people who like rap songs. More of a house and country kind of.
All right.
For some reason, that's my demographic. I don't understand.
People have types, and they have musical types. Yeah,
West Island.
For sure. Anyways, I wanted to talk more about my monologue, my story time at the beginning. I wrote this story time, and I was like, I need Alexa on this episode. Eva Alexo.
I don't even know my name anymore. People call me whatever they want.
I needed Eva on this episode because I feel like you can relate to so much of it. I met you when you came back you were in the Dominican, right? Mm-hmm. And you were working there, and people knew you before, and then you came back sort of a changed person.
Literally a changed person.
Yeah.
Literally another person.
Tell listeners why.
So I I started comedy in 2016, I believe, and I never actually like wanted to be a comic. I just knew I didn't want to die without trying it. Like
Okay.
even if I failed and I did it, at least I knew I wasn't funny, and I was like, whatever, I'll go on and be a social media manager or something, which I still do on the side as my day job. But it was one of those things where it's like I felt a calling towards it. I felt like a want to do it, but I just didn't want to die without trying it. That was basically it.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
started it and it got addictive, and then I kept going. But for me, what happened was I got to a point where I did New York City and I did Gotham.
Okay.
And at that time, like, comedy was going great, but my life was not going great. And I was someone who lived for my family, and I had a really sick mom who was a drug addict and addicted to opioids. So she was bedridden most of my teens.
Oh, wow.
And I spent the majority of my teens like taking care of my mom, flaking on friends all the time, leaving school because I had to go give her like a back massage and make her food and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, at 25 years old, I was doing comedy, yes, but I was also in like a really toxic relationship with my family because I was the caretaker. I was constantly driving back and forth between hospital appointments, and you know, Greek culture sometimes can just get very overly involved. And you know, I got to a point where I said to myself, like, this can't be what my life at 25 looks like. Like, I'm incredibly depressed. Like, when I look at my future, I see black. And you know, I got to a point where I said, you know what? I did the comedy thing. I got to Gotham. I proved to myself that
You can do it.
I can do it. So if I ever want to do it, fine. Like, I'll start over again. But I got to get out of here, and I got to figure out,
You
like,
set a big boundary. You
Yeah.
left the country.
wait, they followed. My
Oh.
parents bought 2 condos in the Dominican right next to my resort.
And I thought my
And moved
parents
there.
were boundaryless. Okay.
I know. I feel like Zach's like just hearing my life story now. We're gonna get to know each other today.
That's like the most Greek thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh yeah. Oh, it gets better.
Oh wow. I mean I didn't know that they bought a condo like near because you hopped around in the islands a bit.
So I ended up being like the marketing expert for Club Med for the North American zone. So what I did to get away as fast as possible was I applied for a social media manager position at Club Med, thinking I was never going to get it.
Okay.
And then they called me. Long story short, I was shipped to Punta Cana within 4 weeks. Like, I was gone.
Wow, amazing.
And I was scared. I was terrified. I mean, I was moving to a country all by myself,
Yeah,
like, for
of
the sake of
course.
like bolting from my family.
Yeah.
But I just needed to know who I was apart from Jenny's daughter, Jim's daughter, Dana's sister,
Yeah.
Nicole's friend. Like,
I mean, we all sort of do that at some point. However, a lot of us don't have that dynamic with a parent that you're the caretaker, right? Like, a lot of times, like, as teenagers or in your 20s, you start building boundaries, you move out, you start, like, your relationship changes as parent and child, but it's must be so hard to leave when you're taking care of this person you love so much.
yeah, you feel a lot of guilt, especially in
of
Greek culture.
course.
It's like
and they lay it
saying
on.
hello and then guilt. Those are the 2
Yeah,
things that
yeah.
happen to you as a child 1st. So, you know, in our culture, it's very like family is close. Family, even if family is toxic, you're still kind of taught that like family is close and
Yeah.
we are close, even though we're mean to each other sometimes. That's just what we do. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's what everyone does. But so I moved, and I ended up not knowing that Club Med was like a French resort from France. So I
Okay.
just moved from one French place to a more French place with bigger assholes. And I was like, and the thing is that over there, so the big part of this is that I was 300 pounds at that time when I started comedy. So
Yeah.
even a lot of my comedy back then was very self-deprecating.
Yeah.
A lot about like, you know, what you resort to when you're shy and you're still getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
And when I went to the Dominican, there was a lot of fat prejudice.
Okay.
It was funny looking back on it, but like,
Yeah.
you know, there was one time my manager confused me and another fat girl for drinking too many smoothies, and I was like,
Oh. Like, okay.
He
like
called me into the
accusatory, like you drink too much smoothie.
yeah, but it wasn't me. It was the other short, fat, brown girl. And I was like, Jérôme, what the fuck, man?
fucking Jerome.
Fucking Jérôme. He's like, Eva, the bartenders are telling me you're drinking all the smoothies. And I was like, what? And he's like, oh, just smoothies. I'm like, Jerome, I've had one smoothie since I got here. And I was like, how did they describe me?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, short, fat. And I was like, damn. He just straight up said it. He's like, yeah, you're fat. And I was like, that's French people. So now I'm very
Was
tough.
it like the French people from France that
Yes.
had this prejudice, or like the locals there?
No. The
Yeah.
locals there, I was a 10. They were like, mira, ven aquí, sexy mommy. And I was like, I belong here. Fuck
This is
everyone
my
else. But, I even say it on stage a lot. Like, there was a real moment. Like, I tell this story on stage, but there was a real moment when I truly knew I had lost an impeccable amount of weight, because it really is culture. Like, Dominicans like fuller women, they love curves and all that kind of stuff, and French people, it's fine. Like, they just their culture is to the slimmer side.
Yeah.
And there was this guy who was the F&B manager who'd come from Miami often, and he knew me when I was big.
Okay.
And I re-met him again smaller.
Yes.
But he didn't recognize me.
Right.
And let me tell you, when I was big, this guy didn't give me 2 looks.
Yeah.
Okay? I met him again when I was skinny. He was doing cocaine in the back of the bar. He was head of F&B in Miami. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
And he hit on me. And he was like, oh, you should be a chef de village. You should be the head of the resort. You have such a big future for you, Eva. I just want to get to know you better. And I was like, this man doesn't even remember disregarding me at any point because I was big.
Yeah.
So the beauty of it, so what I did was I had for many years tried to lose the weight naturally. I had done Weight Watchers.
When was the first time that you tried dieting?
Oh, my whole life.
Your
Like
whole
you,
life,
like I had a very body conscious mother, like don't wear polka dots, don't wear stripes. That makes you look big, you look good, but you're just on the edge. Or, I had a really bad relationship with food like you, and my rebellion and my need for control came from like stealing Quaker bars and like hiding it under the bed, and then everyone would find it, and I'd be like, leave me alone.
Quaker bars.
It was a ghost. Yeah. Oh, the chewy Quaker bars. Oh, it was so good.
Quaker bars are like granola bars, right?
No, they have little chocolate covered ones.
Oh, yes.
With the colonizer man with the hat.
Yes. Yeah.
Mr. Quaker.
That's a Quaker.
I'm a savory bitch, so I was stealing stealing chips and just like no,
I was full blown chocolate. Like I remember going to Florida for the first time and discovering Krispy Kreme Boston creams. And my dad showed up a week later being like, who ate my kid? Because my mom was letting me eat Krispy Kremes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I just gobbled it up. It didn't matter.
I mean, a Boston cream is fucking good.
It is.
Yeah, like fuck off with like what the sugar, like just the sugar. I want the chocolate. I want the cream inside. Like if we're gonna do delicious. A donut, fucking do it.
I did all 12 all the time. But the thing is that I think what a lot of people don't realize, so I wasn't always big. I was like athletic, but I hit puberty watching SpongeBob in like grade 5. So I had C's at 12. Like it didn't make any sense. So I looked fat at a young age, but really I also looked like a full blown woman by 13.
Okay.
While all of my friends had little mosquito bites.
Yeah,
as
that
boobs.
fucks with your body image as well, is because you're like, oh, my body doesn't, even though
I don't look like a cardboard box. Like
so
that's kind of where it started in high school, being like, I know I'm different. I got big boobs. Everyone called me Tits McGee. Ivana Hump a lot. Just
clever.
Eva Angelina
Young
was like
kids
that
can
porn
be
star
clever.
back in the day, and I was like, okay, I'm a Christian. Like I didn't understand it back then. And I think when I really started gaining weight, though, was definitely stage up. Like they used to, what did they call it, freshman 15 or something like that?
Yeah,
I was like freshman 60. Like
yeah.
And I started smoking weed, and just depression and discovering weed and loving it. And that's how it kind of started, and it got worse and worse. And then I got to a point where I think I was around like 230.
Okay.
But the thing is that you don't realize you're getting bigger, and you don't know you're bigger.
Yeah.
And all your friends are like, no, you look good. And then you lose all the weight. You look at the photos and you're like, why did none of you bitches tell me to eat a fucking apple? None of you wanted to look at me and just be like, yeah, girl, you big.
I mean,
like,
it's hard. And like, also like, I would hate, like I had people telling me that I was gaining weight, and I like hated it because like, yeah, I knew, but like whatever
it's
they
an
were
emotional thing.
Yeah, it's an emotional thing. And if they told me like, oh, you should lose weight, it's like, oh, thanks. Like, I don't know that. And like, I felt it would I don't know. I'm conflicted on that because like even if someone told me, I would hate that too.
It's not that.
Yeah.
I think for me what it was is that I was very aware of the fact that I suffered from body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
And so when I was asking my friends, it wasn't so that they would tell me I was skinny. It was so they could confirm that the thoughts in my head weren't
just
overthinking.
confirming.
Like, I feel bigger. Can you guys tell me? But
Yeah.
on their end and in their defense, and what a lot of my friends told me post weight loss was like, we never saw it.
Yeah.
Because we loved you, so
I
we
mean,
didn't see the we didn't see the weight. We just saw Eva, and that like
yeah.
You got good friends.
I know. My mom didn't say that though. She's like, "Thank God we paid for that."
Oh wow. I mean, also friends were seeing you very often, like the increments of weight, you don't really see it.
Yeah.
And then you maybe see like selfies from, a year ago or whatever. Then
It was a full-blown circle.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I know you're getting there in your story, but when did you make the decision to make the change
For the surgery?
Yeah.
I didn't. It was really my doctor because it had gotten really bad. So in 2017, I got evaluated by this doctor.
Okay.
Because my mom had also had a weight loss surgery. She had bypass.
Okay.
And so I went to the same doctor as her.
Okay.
And he had said for me to get the surgery and that if I didn't, I guaranteed would be back in a few years, bigger.
Okay.
And where my mess up was that I told a lot of my girlfriends and they called it cheating. And they said I should just lose it the natural way.
I was going to ask you about that. Like there is such a I don't know if we call it stigma or this like negative narrative around weight loss surgery, like, oh, it's the easy way out. But if we know anything about TikTok now and people documenting their, lap band surgery, journey or their gastric sleeve journey, like it is fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's different from losing weight naturally, but it's fucking hard. You have to like go through like this huge, you have to go through the same psychological journey as you do if you get control of your diet the natural way. Like you have to learn how to eat smaller. You have to change your relationship with food. It's not, and plus you're going through this huge surgery at the same time. It's not the easy way out. And so you faced some of that when you were telling your friends.
Yeah, a lot of it. And to be honest, like I fell for it. I was very young and I lived in the West Island and my friends were my world and I didn't want to feel judged or, anything like that. And, it's funny because like looking back at it now, it's like, fuck you, bitch. Like, you don't go to the gym every day. You don't eat like an Olympian. Like, talk to me when you look like Hercules. Like, if it's so easy, why aren't my skinny friends exercising all the time? Like, people don't realize that it's a mental thing. It's a horrible relationship with food. I eat to punish myself. Like, my routine used to be like waking up, smoking weed, going for a drive, and getting McDonald's.
Yeah.
Still something I really love doing. But it got to the point where I was hiding food and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, I was a very emotional eater. So, and I was brought up that way as well. Mm-hmm. So when I was working for Club Med, I had come home for vacation and I had gotten even bigger because I was dating this lovely Dominican. He just kept feeding me soup all the time, and taking me out for concha and and my parents sat me down and they said, we're going to pay for this surgery because like we want you to know what it is to have a full life.
Okay.
And I went to get evaluated by the doctor and the doctor had actually told me that like I won't live very long and I'm not going to lose the weight because now I've developed with thyroid problems and I'm just going to get bigger.
Okay.
And you don't really have a choice.
Okay.
At that point, it had been 3-4 years, and I had gotten up to 300 pounds from 230. So he was absolutely right.
Okay.
And I left. I did the surgery, and I actually had a really great surgery. Like, I physically recovered amazing. Like I was losing weight rapidly. I was walking right away. I was back to work in the Dominican within 2 weeks. Like,
Oh, wow.
it hurt a lot. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. They literally pull out half your stomach,
Yeah,
like through your belly button.
And you had it done in the Dominican?
No, I had it done in Montreal.
In Montreal,
And I
okay.
went back to the Dominican, back to work.
Okay.
And with this surgery, you lose 2 to 3 pounds a day.
Ooh, okay.
But a lot of women and men who, you know, and people who get this surgery, they lose a lot of hair. So with extreme weight loss, there's hair loss as well, and loose skin, and you know all these types of things. So physically, I've been very lucky.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of loose skin. You know, they do this thing in the surgery where they check like your body to muscle to fat percentage.
Okay.
And I was like down the line 50-50 because I was, you know, an athlete back in the day. So I still had a lot of muscle for the most part.
Okay.
So physically, my body recovered wonderfully. Like I had really saggy breasts, and you know, I got a boob job in March finally, and like even that, I got words to say. So that's the thing. It's like physically, you're like, great, I lost the weight, but what people don't realize is that it's still body trauma.
Yeah.
And your body loses weight faster than your brain can process. So when I talk about fat girl brain,
Yes.
it's not like a ha-ha thing.
Yeah.
Fat girl brain is like, I actually have a weird concept of the world. And when people talk to me, I have this naiveness about me because when I was big, it was like this protection. It was this kind of like, everyone's my friend because I'm the fat jolly girl and I'm pretty for a fat girl, and no one's intimidated by me, and my friends bring me around to places so I can be the fat girl icebreaker. Like, you know, like I can crush a beer on my head. Like, so, you know, there's a lot of social things that happen to you that actually make you feel like you're in this brand new world, and you're like,
absolutely.
you're extremely vulnerable, you're extremely insecure because everything about your world changes. And you know, it's weird because like 2 months in was probably the hardest part for me because I had lost 60 pounds, but when I looked in the mirror, I was still fat. And clothes that I had bought as a shield, because when you're big, you dress yourself to shield yourself. No longer were fitting the right way.
Can we talk about one, like, plus size clothing being terrible for
ugly?
The ugliest thing. Like, oh, I want to wear a floral sheet all the time.
Here's a bed sheet.
Yeah, this will make you look good, right? Like, there's no diversity.
You guys want some more patterns?
Anyways, yeah. So the clothes you were,
I just think it's so weird that like so many people in America are so fat, but like the clothes still suck.
Yeah,
that's like half your demographic.
Exactly. Like, just
more than half your demographic.
Yeah. And like, I always liked, as a bigger person, wearing like tighter clothing because it like, I like showing my curves and stuff. And then like when buying it, like I couldn't find anything except for like selective stores, or I had to like, it was
Forever 21 plus.
Yes. There's my I still have pieces from there that
I know, but their sizes were horrible. Like
terrible.
None
Hit
of
or
that
miss.
helped.
Hit or miss. Yeah, no, the sizing.
Like, this is a 2XL. I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah, this fits over my foot.
Where? Korea?
Yeah. Anyway, so you like the clothes were fitting you.
Yeah.
Like,
So that was weird, and it's like I said, it's a mental mind fuck because you're losing weight really, really fast, and if you eat too much, you get very sick. So you can only really have a couple bites of food and then you're full. Yeah. And with that social interaction, you have to deal with being like, eat more again. I'm like, I can't. I'll throw up. I'm like, you're so cute. Eat it.
Oh gosh.
You know, so it's kind of like, as someone who's addicted to food, that was really difficult for me because, you know, you crave it and you want to eat all that food and you want to feel full and you want to enjoy a full meal. Yeah. But you know, like one bite too much will make you really, really sick. Yeah. And you're very restricted in the things that you do and your cravings and things you used to love anymore, you can't tolerate anymore. And the way people...
That must have been so hard dealing with that in like a country away from home. Like your...
Oh, that was my home back then.
Oh, that was your... Okay.
And I didn't have to cook anything. Like they had like the buffet we all went into. So it was like easy to make my meals and get my soup, but just emotionally... weight loss has been the most difficult part for me because I'm still fat here. I'm still 300 pounds. I'm still working on it. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I still see a big girl.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
You know, and that's why it's a journey, and that's why, like, if there's any very small people who have big friends, like if your friend asks you if they're big and
Yeah.
they just need some help and confirmation to be guided and soothed, like give
Yeah.
it to them, because
Yeah.
sometimes I actually lose my mind in the mirror still, and I
Yeah.
got a boob job and I still lift my boobs up and I'm like, did they do it right? Like they like recarved my nipples. And,
Yeah.
and so
yeah.
the thing people don't realize is that you think the weight loss will change you.
It
and
doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It just gives you more new insecurities.
Yeah.
Like your nose is
Yeah.
big and you're like, I didn't know my face covered most of it before.
I can definitely relate to a lot of things you're saying. I mean, I lost well over 200 pounds at this
Yeah.
point. And I definitely, like, if I'm bloated because of my period one day, I'm just like, well, this is it. I'm going back to it. And I don't really have, I found like, it was like this time last year, like when I actually realized like, oh, I actually kind of did it. I lost the weight. Like I was on this journey, health journey, I called it. But it was really a food addiction recovery program that I was on, that I lost the weight on. And it was only about a year ago that I realized like, oh, my body, like I did it, my body changed, but I still looked in the mirror and I still didn't really see the, like, because I think my brain was like definitely like protecting me from like what I actually looked like, even though like it wasn't terrible what I looked like before, but like it was, I knew that like I wasn't comfortable. I knew that like my joints were aching and everything. And my relationship with food was terrible. I have still like a really bad food addiction. So I definitely like, and even now I struggle. Like I said, like it's a constant journey. Like it's not like you like got the surgery and it's done. Like you know, like and now there's like, I worked so hard for many years to have body positivity in my life, just accept who I was no matter what. But then again, like even back then, like even as much body positivity as I would inject into my brain, it still creeped in that like, you know, you're unhealthy, you should lose weight, you be happy or skinny. That's a big thing. Happy or skinny, no, that does not exist.
No, and I learned that the hard way, because you know there's just so many things that go into being big, and like even as a larger person, you just don't win, because it's like at the same time as everyone's calling you fat and overweight and gross and all that kind of stuff, the media is also forcing you to love yourself and be the best curvy gal you can be, and just like
and I was the best
it.
curvy gal I could be. I'm also the best me I could be now too. Like
I did my best, but no, I did not always love myself.
Yeah.
No, I did not always feel confident, and it almost made me feel worse that I had channels kind of also giving me propaganda to like shove it down my throat, you know? So I felt worse about the fact that like, why don't I love myself all the time? Like sometimes I'm really sad, and sometimes most of the time, and even still today, I don't think I'm worthy of love.
Oh,
you know, like those are thoughts that go into your head for multiple reasons. So, you know, in front of people, like, and most of the time, sure, I always felt beautiful. I was always very confident in who I was as a human being. But to say that I didn't go home sometimes and be by myself and feel like I'm never going to find anyone, or I'm only going to find a certain type of person and be a fetish, like I would be lying, and it would be doing a disservice to women who feel that and feel ashamed for feeling that, because they're like supposed to love themselves. Men feel that way too.
Men feel that way too.
Everybody
I still like feel like all of those insecurities still now in this healthier body, I guess, smaller body. And it's, what are you looking at?
I'm like, so you also got into a serious relationship post weight loss? We should talk about that.
Yes, I did. But what I was going to say, we'll get to that. What I was going to say is that like, I had insecurities then, but now I have these different insecurities, like you brought up, that like, I never thought I would be facing now. And like, I didn't have weight loss surgery, but now I'm like contemplating, you know, changing my body just because of these insecurities. Cause I'm like, I'm young. I don't want to live with this the rest of my life.
Yeah, and you deserve it too.
I guess, but it's a big decision to make, and you should be so proud of yourself, and you were so brave to and you're so open and talking about it too.
Yeah,
you're so
of
open
course.
and honest, and I mean, a lot of people aren't, and
I'm surprised by that. Well, I shouldn't be, but for me, it's just like, if you know there's other people suffering from this, and you can kind of like give any type of insight, like why not?
Yeah,
you know? Like
exactly.
I have nothing to hide,
Yeah.
like except my belly sometimes. Like I don't know, but you the thing is that when you're big, like for me anyways, I was very confident in who I was as a human being. So I knew anyone who loved me for me, because I knew I wasn't the girl you were going to pick first, but I was going to be the girl you remembered, and I was going to be the coolest girl, and I was going to be the funniest girl, and I was going to be the chillest girl, and like that's what you're going to remember, and we'll be homies, and then I'll have a crush on you and you won't like me back. But then we'll be best friends and you won't like me back.
oh my God, my entire life. Just
Right? And I'm just like, what do you mean that blonde hockey player doesn't like me back and he wants Vanessa? and that's the thing, but there's this protection you give yourself and this confidence. So you're like, whatever. If someone doesn't want me, it's because I'm fat, and that's the only reason they don't want me, and it's because I'm big. Other than that, I'm perfect.
Yeah.
And then you lose all the weight. So with every pound, so does a realization of the world come to you. Like, so the more weight I lost, the more my mind became open to a lot of things that like, I don't know how to say, like a lot of things that I was maybe disassociating with.
Okay.
Like maybe I never really noticed the fat discrimination until I lost the weight. I noticed how nice people were treating me.
I noticed it when I was big.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Like tell
I
me a
also
story.
I had two opposite people would discriminate because I was fat. Like I've had people come up to me in stores and just like, oh, you need to lose weight. Like just, I had people come up to me, like a patient that was in the waiting room in an emergency room, come up to me and was like, you need to lose weight. Like what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, usually
now you're gonna
like
wait 7 hours
or something. Yeah, okay. Do you really think you coming up to me in a Winners telling me that I need to lose weight, like this French Canadian, is gonna do anything? No, it's just gonna like send me home.
Hey, Dad.
yeah. Like, I need to change my life because of this. No, it's not gonna.
Gilbert told me I was wrong.
Yeah, but then I had like in my early 20s, like I did very little dating because I thought that I was too big to be loved. Then I started dating, and then I saw that people didn't give a shit about my side. They loved me no matter what. But I have never had a serious relationship as a bigger person. I don't know if that's coincidental. Now I have a serious relationship.
I mean, I have a really serious relationship.
I have a serious relationship.
The other guy barely spoke English. I couldn't talk to him about nothing. He's like, Leila, want some soup? I was like, do you think aliens exist? He's like, haha, you so cute. And I was like, fuck.
This is the Dominican.
Damn it, Johan. Yeah, but but the thing is that I will always love him in a certain way, because he will always represent someone who, at the end of the day, like I make jokes, but he really loved me for me. Yeah. And he loved me at my biggest. And he was also very honest. He'd be like, Leila, usually I don't like a big woman, but something about you was so exotic. And I like to believe that like my personality shone through that. But there was a security and a confidence in that. And then I lost all the weight, and every question in the book was like hitting me. I probably slept with more people when I was big than when I lost weight.
Oh,
I mean,
me 100%.
I slept with my boyfriend, who is now my boyfriend, been like, white boy summer, baby, let's crush it. Like I was ready to just dominate the Irish after I lost all the weight. I was coming for the lifeguards. Like I was going full throttle. And then I was just him. And 2 years later, here we are. So I never really screwed around post weight loss. Actually, there was one guy at the resort I hooked up with, and I have the video. Well, I didn't film. We didn't actually end up hooking up. He was this guy from Texas. Oh. And I kicked him out of my room. Oh. Yeah, because I just decided last minute I wasn't that type of girl anymore. Oh, and he was like super drunk. Okay. And the thing is that the staff quarters are like 2 kilometers away from the actual resort, like in the middle of the jungle. And he's like, "Where's my room?" I was like, "Outside to the left, keep going." Yeah. And I don't know what happened to him. I never saw him again.
He found his way.
I'm sure he found his way back to Texas.
There's no news report
or
about
Panama.
Someone.
I don't know.
A texting going missing from Club Med. No, there was no news.
Yeah, and you know, even in my relationship, the thing is that not unfortunately, but as I've been in a relationship, I've also had to get to know myself and get to know who I am. And for me, my boyfriend was this like hunky dory jockey, big football player from Concordia. Like I would have never touched this guy before. Never. And he would have never. I would have been the best friend that liked him. He didn't like me back. That's who my boyfriend would have been back in the day. And so I even have these moments where I look at him and I'm like, huh. I really ended up dating the guy from Jane the Virgin, huh? And that was my crush too. So I was like, whoa, gotcha.
Nice.
But just like, I still get really insecure sometimes.
Of course.
I still feel like he might leave me for a skinnier, tighter 22-year-old.
Those insecurities slip in for sure.
And I'm someone who was like, I'm going to run away first before you dump me. Bye. Be gone. And like I've worked through it and he works through it with me, but
that's good.
It's definitely something that is like, it's on you.
Yeah.
To remember that.
My
like,
boyfriend's very, very patient because there's some days like I look at my boyfriend some days and I'm like, you are so hot. This is a this is a mismatch. Like, oh no. And I am not on the good side of this mismatch. That's where I go. I'm not on the good side. And then like I said that to him the other day.
Shake your head, but I know what she's saying. Like I've been there too, where I'm looking at him and being like, sorry, Mike, you're ugly as fuck.
And like I said this to Fernando like a couple weeks ago. Like we're a mismatch, aren't we? He's like, don't open that can of words. Like fuck off, don't open. And then I actually said that in front of Mike, and like he was just like, I think that's your self-esteem, like talking. Those like sweet boy, sweet like.
Isn't it so bad when I think the thing I hate the most about my boyfriend is that he's kind of on the border of Gen Z. So when we argue, there's a lot of like terms that are brought up.
Oh.
And like, can't we just like be millennials and call each other like a little bitch or something? Why do you have to be like, why are you degrading my self-esteem right now? Like, I feel really invalidated and you're gaslighting me. I'm like, shut up. Just fucking defend yourself. You're invalidating my emotions, babe. And I'm like, no, I'm not. You don't have emotions.
That's kind of nice because I'm dating a 38-year-old that does not have that type of language.
He's like, do you think that maybe this is your childhood trauma speaking through? And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm going to my room. And he like graduated in sociology too. So I'm like, shut up. He's like, everything is a construct. Marriage is a construct. Relationship is a construct. Monogamy is a construct. Shut up. Just go get a hall pass. Don't preach to me that polyamorous shit. Okay? Go in the fields. You want to be polyamorous? Go get 6 more girlfriends. I dare you to deal with all 6 of us. You don't want to handle all that. You can barely handle me.
He'll come crawling back to you and they'll be like, I don't want this anymore.
This man almost... Okay, actually, it's a little bit of both. Okay, once a month on my period. Okay. We just made the connection. Okay. But at least once a month, I want to break up. Okay. And it just so happens to be around the time that my little blood taquitos are also coming out.
Call back.
And I am getting angry at everything. Like I am just overly sensitive, and for some reason I'm always like trying to break up. But now he's trying to like figure it out. Like when around the time
that's
comes.
So nice. Like he puts the
because even when he presents it, the feminist in me that like has to be there is like, don't say I'm being emotional because I'm on my period. These are my feelings. Like the next day I come out and I'm like, it's time. It happened. And he's like. So now he like gets excited. And he's like, he has like the tracker app, so he tracks it before me.
He tracks your flow for you.
The
flow
so
app
once I
for
start
you.
So now once I start getting a little snappy, he's like,
Oh, wow.
2 weeks out, the hormones start raging, so I'm not going to take you seriously right now. Then I just run away like Huckleberry Finn, and I'm like, you figured out the code. He just tracks my period app. I don't even have a period tracking app.
I don't. This episode is brought to you by Flow app. Track your period.
Give her money.
So your boyfriend doesn't, so you don't break up with your boyfriend.
That's smart, though.
I know, but I think it's more for his mental health. So he's like, she's not abusing me. She's just on her period. She's not verbally abusive. She's just emotional, right?
So in every episode, I ask a couple questions, sort of to wrap up. I hate that we have to wrap up soon.
I know, this is fun though.
This is so fun. I hate that, but I asked a few questions at the end to every guest, all two of the guests that I got so far, every single one, all of them, the lineup of one. There's been
I'm
three.
actually really honored you asked me. It meant a lot to me.
I wouldn't. Of course.
I mean, we were going to
course.
do this conversation privately.
Oh,
at my
of
house,
course.
'cause we had
Of
that
course.
plan.
We've had this conversation.
We're like, hey, you want to come over and talk about our trauma?
Yeah,
And
and
she's
like,
like,
I get to pet Leia and like, yeah, of course.
It's so true. They were like, how about we just record it, film it, and then everyone will know.
Of course. Yes. All right. First question. What inspires you in your comedy?
My life
Yes.
and the people in my life.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. For sure.
People inspire me quite a bit because I've always been a very observant person, and I've always tried to like understand people and see their point of view. You know, I might not be the most Christian person now, and I don't agree with everything about Christianity, but one thing I always carried with me was, you know, loving people regardless, and you know, allowing emotions to come in and then kind of leaving.
Yeah.
Like even, you know, in the comedy scene, like we're all the same essentially. Like I have ego, you have ego, he got ego. Like we all want our moment. We all want our spot. And sometimes when you feel like you're being chosen over or you didn't get a certain opportunity because that person got, it can make you feel a type of way, but it's like, it's the most toxic feeling in the world.
Oh,
and you can embrace it as a human, but it has to be gone just as fast because there's room at the table for everybody to eat.
Oh, absolutely.
And everybody,
absolutely,
like fireworks pop at a different moment, you know? So for myself, what first inspired my comedy when I started was my body. And it was the easiest thing to joke about as I was getting comfortable on stage. And, you know, I think with the weight loss, like the biggest gift that came from it was that I was able to look at different aspects of my life.
Yeah.
And different scenarios that I may be, or memories that I suppress that I think might be relatable to people now. So now my writing has gone a little bit more into concepts of, you know, I want to get engaged, but I don't want to get married because when you get engaged, it's hope. And when people get married, they don't like you anymore. And you're annoying. Like, because I'm at that age and, you know, observing my friends' life situations and my life situations. And even, you know, my boyfriend telling me that my poom poom like a breakfast restaurant. It's like an argument. Am I like looking at me? By the way, it's my poom poom fire. All right, 10 seconds or less, you're done for. It's a warm, cozy home. Feels like Sweden. Very, very nice. Good blanket. Good blankets. Like a good IKEA throw blanket. This is so gross. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. That's actually disgusting.
It's not. No, we're
It's
keeping
called
all
the
of that.
Order now at IKEA, the Libya. Sorry.
Moving on from your pussy, your vagina. What is your biggest passion in life? Your vagina.
my biggest passion in life would have to be smoking weed. Admittedly,
Yeah.
I smoke it all the time.
Gang,
Yeah.
gang.
But my actual passion in life is I think I need more passion. My passion in life is comedy and producing, and I really like making people feel connected and understood and related to, because I think that the world has been anything but that in the past couple of years. So I don't even really know if my life mission is just stand-up comedy or just producing shows, but I know I always want my end result to be that people feel understood.
Yeah.
So I think people might be my passion. I wish I was one of those people that was like, I hate people, but like I really like people. I think people can be shitty, but for the most part,
I would
like
wish that really. Like, I mean,
it's a very 2016. Be like, I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
And, like, I just like love black and hate people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
and I definitely
we get
think
it.
you do that with everything that you work with. You just like, you make people feel good. I've seen it at the Kickback. They keep coming back because they feel connected to you and the other people in the audience and the comedians. It's really great.
Well,
It's
I'm really excited to have you guys you and Zach on it too. But yeah, that's for me what it wants. Like, I just want to know that I made a positive, like if anything is ever to happen to me or if ever I pass away or anything like that, like I just hope my legacy is that I made people feel good about themselves and I made them feel understood and welcomed and connected, because like I've had the privilege of living in two different bodies. Like I'm some type of spy, and I've seen the world from two very different perspectives. And like the reality is that it's shitty on both ends, and none is easier than the other. And if you're not, criticized for one thing, you're going to be criticized for another thing. So if in the midst of all of that, you can at least do your best to not be a piece of shit. I mean, I have my
just
moments
not being
too,
an
trust
asshole.
me. Like I say some shit to kids. Like I live in the back of a school. Like I one time really gave it to them. But, for the most part, it's like, stand up for yourself, know when to stand your ground, own your stuff. But at the same time, like, it's a lot easier to not be a piece of shit. It takes a lot more muscle to be a douchebag.
Absolutely.
People are my passion. And that's why I'm running for Miss Universe. World peace.
And the last question before we wrap up is, what is the hardest thing you've ever been through?
Probably post weight loss. I think. I mean, it's easy to say, like when my mom, this winter, we almost lost my mom to an overdose.
Okay.
And I would say like this year has probably been the hardest year of my life, because there's been a lot of healing. There's been a lot of hurt. There's been a lot of realizations that you have, especially as like your parents get older and you realize that they're just people.
Yeah.
And they're also two people in a relationship. But, having to learn how to set boundaries, just being a late bloomer in general, because I was always sort of like treated like a kid and I always felt like a kid. So I never really allowed myself to grow. So I think hard, I don't know if I've ever had the hardest time of my life, because I think I've had different chapters that have been difficult in different ways. Like I could easily say June was the hardest month of my life, because as of yesterday, I had 64 cents in my bank account. Like straight up. Because bills are expensive. And between my boyfriend and I, we had $6 2 days ago. And we couldn't even buy toilet paper.
Oh, wow.
But I still have a roof over my head and I still have love and I could make a weird pasta if I need to. But I'm still like in a loving relationship. I still have a dog that I love. So for me to say I've had the hardest time of my life is difficult, because I haven't lost a friend. I haven't lost a family member yet. I mean, I lost my grandma, but...
But your challenges or your difficulties are still valid and they're still emotional.
Yeah, but I think they also inspire my comedy.
Growth is really painful, and I feel like what's you're going through is a lot of growth and change, and it's painful. But at the end of the day, you learn from it, you get better, and then things get better.
So I think like hard is a hard question, because like every year has been challenging in a different way, and every month is challenging in a different way. This is like our second recession. And we're supposed to like own a house and I have 5 kids. I can barely, if I was like, sorry, dog, you have to have risotto and peanut butter today. Because like everything is so expensive. So like, if I'm going to say what's the hardest time of my life, like this has been the hardest time of my life. But this is hopefully the part of the rags to riches story. And where a lot of people are like, I had 64 cents in my account. And I have a lot of faith, like I said, like in my, it's temporary. It's all temporary. It's going to be okay. It will be. One day we'll make money off the Kickback. But for now, I'm just happy that people are being exposed to good comics. And, we're all together, have been building the comedy scene. And that's why I'm so proud of the Montreal comedy scene from any other city that I know, because we're the most misunderstood comedy scene. We're the most underdog comedy scene, because the rest... Underdogged. I don't know if that made any sense. Why do I have 8 different languages in my head right now? Underrated. But also underdogged.
I mean,
people don't really give us enough credit because we're masked by Just for Laughs. So
we're masked, and the French community as well.
The French community takes priority.
But we are small, we're mighty, and that's why, I mean, I love this opportunity, having a podcast and putting it out into the world and getting the world to know comedians in Montreal a bit more.
We got grit, man. Montreal comics have grit, and we're very aware of the fact that like, even though the French side is more supported,
Yeah.
it's not something I have seen any of us be really mad at.
No.
You know, it's just like, yeah, obviously
Yeah.
Quebec's going to do that. We live in
Yeah.
Quebec. However, if we want to have a scene, if we want to be comics, we're all going to have to produce our own shows, and everyone has. And for the most part, compared to other cities, I think we're really nice to each other.
I think so.
The ratio of assholes to genuinely decent human beings
there's
compared
definitely
to other
some
cities.
problematic people, but like in
Yeah.
general, like when I go out, I'm not hit with like a ton of them. So like most of the people
I've heard of
I
like more toxic cities. with
Oh,
comedy.
I think so. Yeah, for sure. I
And
don't
even
know.
Ottawa's like, what the fuck? Why are you guys so mean to each other? Like, you guys are like the upside down world. Like, calm down. Like, there's no reason why you guys need to be fighting amongst each other. Like,
Yeah.
we're all tiny fish in a
Yeah.
little damn tank. Okay,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
need to do our best. And
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know, in a world that's already shitty enough, let's just give yourselves a break.
So be nice to each other.
Be nice. Oh.
Now, this has been House of Stone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. I love chatting. I'm going to have you on again. I feel like we can talk so much more about so much more stuff.
You also need
so
to
much
come
different-
over.
Yes, I need to come over, have a drink, hang out with Leia and you. And yes. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Bye, guys.
I want to say thank you to our funders and our sponsors. I want to thank Pentelis Comedy for the studio and Poseidon. I want to thank Zach Kick on the ones and twos.
Comedy gang.
I want to thank Fernando the Third, our social media extraordinaire, and I want to thank our listeners. Please like, subscribe, follow, all of that jazz, and stay tuned for more episodes. Thank you.